Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Real Talk with
Tom. Hey, everybody.
And Joanne. Hi. Nice to see you guys again. So we have a fun topic today.
Topic? Assessed value?
Well, yeah, I don't know if it's that fun. Tom's going to try and make it as fun as possible, though. So we're going to talk about, so there's 3 different types of value when we talk about your home. Mm-hmm. So there's the assessed value, which Tom's going to really get into the meat and potatoes of that a little bit later.
And we're going to make it fun.
Try to.
Yeah.
We've got coffee going, so that's kind of helping. And then we also have appraised value, and then we have market value. So appraised value is when we're going to buy and sell a home, and an appraiser comes out and they assess the value of your home in that moment, in that picture when they're out there looking at your home. So they will use recent comparables of homes that are currently for sale around you and that have recently sold as well. So that's your appraised value. Now, your market value is maybe what a buyer would pay for your home. You know, we may think one value, but they may be thinking something else. So the market value is that current, what that buyer would pay for your home at this time. Now, the more challenging one, I think, Tom's great at explaining it, but is the assessed value on your home. So, Tom, what exactly does that mean?
Okay. So the assessed value, there's 3 important things to remember about assessed value. One is, how do they come up with an assessed value? Okay, very important. How does that change every year, year to year? Okay. And then what happens to assessed value? Who cares, right? What happens to it? So the assessed value. Assessed value is what the county assessor says your home is worth. Okay. Okay. And then that's how you're taxed. So how do they determine what your home is worth? Okay. In 2001, they did a reassessment of all. We're going to look at Indiana today. Every county is different, every state is different, but let's look at Indiana today. So in Indiana, they reassessed every property in Indiana in 2001. Okay. Can you imagine the task of doing that, right? So they took all the records they had on file already, which unfortunately most of those probably weren't that great in terms of proper bedrooms and bathrooms and square footages and those kind of things, okay? So they took all that information and then they actually had a team go out and physically look at the exterior of all the homes. Okay. So they looked at the exterior, took the records they already had, on record with the county, and they came up with a value for every home in the state of Indiana. That's how they arrived at your assessed value, which then goes to the treasurer to determine your taxes.
Now I have a question, Tom. Sure. You just mentioned they look at the exterior part of your home. Say we're neighbors, Tom, and you just went and remodeled your home. I did not. So but our exteriors might look the same.
There are just so many inaccuracies in this whole process, and really that's the big point we want to make today. Okay. Assessed value is important because that's how your taxes are determined. But there's so many inaccuracies. We don't want people to rely on assessed values when we start talking about market value and appraised value. Yeah. Okay. Because they're supposed to be the same. Your assessed value, market value, and the appraised value are supposed to be the same, but they are not.
I could see that's a bit challenging.
Yeah. But I went to a house the other day. The assessed value is $284,000. Okay, so that's what it's being taxed at. Okay. My value, what I gave a market value, was $395,000. So they're being assessed at $285,000, and I went one of the online services. They had them at $346,000. Wow. Okay.
So it's almost like you're sitting here thinking, how do I know what the number is?
It's a mess. It really is. And it's nobody's fault. It's almost an impossible thing to get accurate information from.
And how do you, because like you said, this took place in 2001. So now many years later, 20 years later, how do things trend or change?
Right. So what they do is in 2001, anything moving forward, the assessed value is what you paid for your new home. Okay. A new home was built. The other ones, they establish a value. So every year now we trend. So that's what happens to our assessed value. So they go to an area. If an area appreciated 5% last year, so the home sales went up 5% from one year to the next, everybody's assessed value trends up 5%. Okay. That's how they do that. Now, they don't take into account what the condition of that home was or any of those kind of things that you mentioned. Right. It goes up 5%.
So just for everybody, because I can see, again, if we compare, you and I are neighbors, what if you just sold your home for $400,000? I don't know if mine's going to be valued the same.
So. And that is the issue with it. Now, we're in an appreciating market, and quite honestly, most of our assessed values are way below what our market value is. So that's a good thing. The one I talked about was assessed at $285,000. But its market value is $395,000. Okay, So we've appreciated so much, we're getting more than we're getting taxed now, which is a good thing for taxes, not a good thing for the county.
That's true. So how does that work? If I'm curious about my real estate taxes, where does that come into play? So what we're going to do next,
our next podcast, we're really going to dig into the real estate taxes and exemptions and those kind of things. But I want you to understand today is your assessed value is then given to the treasurer's division, and the treasurer puts that in a calculation that calculates your real estate taxes. So they'll take your assessed value, now less a bunch of exemptions. That's what we're going to get into our next podcast, because there's so many things to understand about how you're being taxed. So that's how they do that. They take that assessed value to the treasurer and determine what your real estate taxes are. And the problem with a lot of this is there's a lot of online services that'll give you an estimate of your home's value. Unfortunately, most of them use that assessed value to determine what you're worth in today's market. So, I mean, our recommendation is get a professional realtor to come out and look at your home. We study homes and prices every day. We know the market. We know what your neighbor sold for. We know the condition of that home. We compare apples with apples.
Well, you just pointed out the home you went to. It should be about $395, but online said $346. So my home could be worth more. And I feel, and Tom is so right, you need someone like Tom and myself or your own professional realtor to come out and really go through those numbers with you and look at comparables and see what's really happening real time in the marketplace.
And what's really important, again, have a trusted advisor. That's really the point of this, is make sure you have a trusted advisor. We would love to be that person if you don't have a real estate professional. We've got a great team here at Weichert Realtors Ileana, very well-trained professionals who will walk you through this process. I mean, if you're a buyer, we offer buyer consultations where we'll explain all this so you're aware of what's going on. Again, you don't need to be an expert on that, but you should have an advocate that is.
I agree.
And that's what we do.
We're here to walk you through that. And if you have specific questions now that you're sitting there watching going, oh, wait, I want to ask something, go to askweichert@gmail.com. Again, askweichert@gmail.com. And we're there all the time, and we'll be able to answer your questions for you. So I hope this helped a little bit. It helped me understand it, because assessed value there's a lot to it.
And it can be confusing, right? And we just want you to understand the differences in it. So if you have questions, reach out to us. We appreciate your time. We appreciate you listening today, and look forward to talking to you soon.
Thanks for joining Real Talk. Bye-bye.
Bye, all.